Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning into the N1ER podcast. As always, I'm your host, John, and today is our 2025 year-end review. We're going to go over all the things that happened last year. A lot of them really not according to plan, but we got a nice big list here. I'll show you a little bit of sneak peeks. And this is what we're going to get into today. So as everybody's understanding with the new year, we like to set new ambitions, new goals, try to come up with things to keep us occupied and not go crazy with the mundane reality of what life sometimes is. Today, we're going over everything that didn't work out and possibly did work out last year. Unfortunately, for my tally, I have a few more on the didn't work out than the did work out. As you can tell, we're in a brand new room. I moved over, I think, a couple months, maybe a month ago. So this is what we're looking like now. It's a bigger room in my parents' house still. We're trying to get out of here for this new year. I have some additional goals at the end that we'll go over. Pretty achievable things in my opinion, but let's start off with what life was like last year. This time, January 2025. So, we had the new year, we had some new projects as well. And what we worked on basically right from the get-go was the anime convention, which a lot of people were upset for not having it work out this year, myself especially included. So basically I made a bunch of promises with the anime convention, also with the ice cream business that also didn't work out this year. We'll get into that in just a second. But the first part of the year, basically last year, was getting the anime convention into a form where I could sell it to people, which was something I achieved. I definitely got to that point. But also getting things ready for our 2025 ice cream season, as in 2024, I was actually open in downtown at my spot. I have to break some hearts here when I say this, but I will not be renewing my spot for downtown Binghamton probably ever again. It's just not really the location we're looking forward to, and our demographic is not really what it used to be. A lot of people that I would try to sell to, traditionally kids or families, they don't want to go downtown anymore. And I've done some work with the city to try to remedy that situation, create a safer atmosphere, a more accountable law enforcement entity, and things just didn't really work out the way they should have. So I regretfully have to inform you guys that for the 2026 season and probably forward from here on out, we will not be downtown Binghamton anymore. We're looking for some businesses to collaborate with, more on that in a second. But basically last year in January, we were getting things ramped up for our 2025 season for the ice cream, and we were doing the anime convention. That's where it initially started. At least I created the Discord with a friend of mine, and we're about 167, I think, as of today, which is the 2nd of January, 2026. We are 167 members strong. I think actually maybe 165, because two of those are like bots. It doesn't really matter. But as for February, now we're getting into February. So the anime convention really hit the ground running, and we were able to create this thing that a lot of people now know as the Binghamton Anime and Nerd Convention. I'm very proud of where we were able to get with it. February this time last year, we were doing pretty good on that. I was doing a lot of marketing. I was coming up with our image. I got some more people on board, so things were going good. 2 thumbs up for that. March, we're really getting in our footing, and we're getting into the full swing of things with the anime convention. Now I'm going out to businesses and I'm saying, hey, if you'd like to work with us, this is how you can do it. I created the contract for our vendors. I created the terms of service for our attendees, and everything else was really coming into place, and it was working out well. We were really optimistic. I think I remember, right here, feeling good and optimistic. Unfortunately, our optimism was to be shattered very shortly in a couple months from then. So April then comes around, and we continue the hard work to finalize the anime convention, and reality is starting to hit towards the end of the month. That for all the work that I've done, and this is me going to businesses every single day if I could, emailing people to collaborate, trying to get vendors on board, basically constantly working with my team to finalize how we're going to get things done. And I think it was around this time we started doing the anime nights at the Legacy Lounge in downtown Binghamton, which is another thing that unfortunately is no longer happening. That's just too bad. But we'll get into that in a second. So April, things were really progressing in a very good way. We're hitting the strides. We're really getting all the information kind of corralled into one atmosphere that I could kind of oversee. So things were going really good, and we had high hopes for what things were going to turn out. Obviously, May 4th was our date, and so now we can get into May and what kind of happened, which was the exact opposite of what we wanted to have happen. That's right. We unfortunately did not have our anime convention. We had to postpone it, and I'll get into more of this later. But we did collaborate with the Binghamton University Animation Club and that was later this year in November. So obviously a little too late for that, but we are planning for our next convention to be sometime in the fall this year. Now with our collaboration, I think it's really going to work out. We could have a venue at BU University. We have a dedicated fan base. They have their own Discord server with 200 plus people, I think 300 even, at least today. I haven't checked, unfortunately. I should have checked for this video. That'd been a good idea. But they have a lot of people interested. And so later this year, I actually went to one of their artist alleys. I dressed up as the cow, as many people know that I have the costume just in that closet there. But we'll get into that in a little bit. May failure comes for May 4th, and this really sucked. I have really no better way to say it, but it just sucked. I spent so much time from the end of January to the beginning of May just trying to finalize everything, get the vendors on board, get the venue situated, get the after party, getting a team built, getting the marketing there, get the businesses attending. And things just did not work out the way that I had envisioned them to. And that's really too bad. I really don't have much else to say besides I did a lot of work for nothing. And that's sometimes what happens when you start something new. Actually, that's what happens a lot of time when you start something new, is that you work very hard and it doesn't work out. You have to be okay with that for a little bit. Don't let that be the be-all, end-all. Obviously, we're still trying to do things with the anime convention. I made business cards now this year, so we're in a new era of the anime convention. But as things kind of were, it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. We got some sponsors on board, not enough. We got some vendors on board, definitely not enough. We had like 6. I think I had 8 people interested. I had 6 contracts filled out and signed back to me. So if we were going to run it, we were going to run it with 6 people at a convention that was, the venue size was not going to look good for only 6 people being there, or 6 vendors. We didn't have enough money. Nothing worked out. Nothing worked out, unfortunately, except for our anime nights, which actually went on for a couple more months. So that came pretty rough. But also in May, unfortunately, somebody was murdered in downtown Binghamton, right on the street that I sell ice cream at. And later that same week, 2 days later, a girl had jumped off the parking garage and taken her own life. So this was a pretty serious thing that happened all of a sudden, where I was supposed to start my business back up for the year, pretty much right after the convention. The convention didn't happen because of, first year, I call it the first year jimmies. Everybody's just a little scared to commit to something their first year when it's, when I did the fair coordination for the Holistic Health and Wellness Fair, we had a lot of people that came our second year that probably were definitely not going to come our first year, simply because it's a gamble. We don't know how big the venue is going to be. We don't know how things are going to accommodate. We don't know if the business is going to do good. We don't really want to go our first year. I get that. I understand that. And I, accounted for that as much as I could. But then, this happened with my ice cream business, and I really had nothing to fall back on as I planned for my business to start that year. And we just couldn't do it. And that really sucked. I have really no better way to say that it really just sucked. I put a lot of time into the convention. It didn't work out. I've put an even more amount of time and money into the ice cream business, and then we had a false start basically this year. So June comes around, and we're kind of putting the pieces back together. We're getting a new job, or trying to get a new job at a couple places. I had a pretty hard time getting a job during the summer. And we'll get into that a little bit come August, but right now we're talking about June. This is kind of putting the pieces back together, and I think it was the end of May that the Legacy Lounge actually closed, so Anime Nights had to find a new location. So in June, kind of a low point. Believe me, it's going to get a lot lower, but that's okay. So then July comes around, and now this is a real low point. I don't have a job. The anime convention is basically not doing anything. I think we started to do anime nights at a local barcade, which it started to work out a little bit. We definitely kept it alive, and that's all it was worth. It was just worth keeping alive for the time being. That's totally fine. A low point for me is excruciatingly low, but it was about to get a lot lower. Just keep that in mind. So the jobs that I was trying to get, things weren't working out. I think a lot of people didn't want to hire me because of my business background. My resume is pretty much just me working my own businesses. So if you're an employer, you're thinking, yeah, I'm not going to hire this guy. He's just going to jump ship when things get good. That's been a conversation I've had a lot of times in interviews, and that's really disheartening, I'll say. A couple times I have gotten the job, even when they have had to worry about that, but things didn't quite work out. August. Even lower of a low point for us. Mental hospital visit. That sucked. I already made a video on that once I got out. I think it was the 25th or the 27th of August. That's when I was actually out. I was there for 7 days. I'd gone to the mental hospital before, and I wasn't even there as long. That first time, I was there longer. The second time, when the first time I had actually attempted suicide. I crashed my car into a tree trying to kill myself, and I was there for like 4 days. This time I was there longer. I thought it was a little ridiculous, but I already made a video about that. So if you guys want to check that out, I think it's just called a mental health visit or mental hospital, something like that. It's already on this channel. I posted that back in August, so there's only a couple. Go check out the playlist for the In1 Ear Out podcast. It's going to be on there as well. If not, just go to the videos tab on my YouTube channel. Yes, so August really sucked for a couple reasons. One, mental hospital visit, that was later in the month. 2, anime nights were no longer happening at the barcade. They just didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, okay, great. 3, a job that I had secured and I was doing the training for, because I went to the mental hospital in between there. I started basically a week or 2 weeks prior to going to the hospital. I started an insurance job at Globe Life. I was learning to get my insurance salesman's license. And then I got sent to the mental hospital, and that really threw a wrench in the whole plans. It took a lot longer to do the training, and eventually I was not able to do that. So that sucked. Let me tell you, that sucked. Among other reasons that going to the mental hospital sucked, but I'm not going to delve into that today. It's a whole separate video. And it is a video. It's already made, so check it out. Anyway, September comes around, and finally I'm able to get a good job. It's a decent job, actually. It's not that great. I wish it was a little bit more regular than it is. It's like very rare on occasion anymore. But basically I sell vacuums and air purifiers to people at their homes. I go to their house, I do a presentation, yada yada. It's okay, it's cool. I got a new sleeping medication from coming out of the mental hospital, so it wasn't a complete waste, but there was probably better ways to get that medication than having to endure what was the mental hospital. I don't want to talk about that anymore. Like I said, I already made a video on that. And then another thing in September is that my cat, who was about 13 years old, we unfortunately had to put him down. His name was Mo. I loved him a lot. And that was kind of sad because he was very sick. And on his way out, I think my last time seeing him, the day that he was put down, I fed him probably like 20 catnip treats, just trying to get his spirits up and trying to get him to feel good. But he was surrounded by flies, and he was like a rotting corpse. It was very hard to see. He wasn't allowed in the house for like a month, and because he was so sick, we didn't want him to get our other animals sick. So it was just kind of sad. But we had to put him down, so we just have one cat now at the house, which I love him. I love him absolutely. Marty, our good cat. But so that was another thing that was kind of unfortunate. Into October now. October, let's see. I think after September, or was it November? So October was the No Kings protest, and that was pretty interesting. I did a video on that as well if you want to check that. I might be able to link it somewhere. It'd be usually right up there. If not, you can check it out in the YouTube playlist, which is the In1 Ear Out podcast. You could do it in the podcast section on my channel as well. I made a video of just me going down and interviewing some people. I got to speak to a lot of interesting people. Got some good takes. It was something. I'll tell you that. It was definitely something. It wasn't a waste of time either. I got to meet a friend down there, and he helped me record, which was like a godsend. It was super helpful. I don't know how I would have been able to do it like I did without a helpful, individual like him. So shout out to Patty. Appreciate you, Patty. Appreciate it. It's actually one of my friend's brothers, so it was pretty cool. I went to school with him, so it was cool. But the No Kings protest, I had a very forgettable Halloween. I think I just ordered pizza and drank some alcohol. After I got out of the hospital, I started drinking. Which, when I was in the hospital, they were like, "Are you drinking?" And I'm like, "No, I don't drink." They're like, "So how many drinks a week?" I'm like, "0." They're like, "Okay, so you drink on the weekends?" I'm like, "I do not drink." But guess what? I kind of drink now, which, I'm 26. I turned 26 in December. We'll get to that. But I really don't drink. I think I drink like maybe once every couple weeks. It's really not something I enjoy doing. It's fine. I just do it by myself. Kind of sad, right? Anyway, so Halloween, I'm making some money. October, kind of a forgettable month. The socks with John was definitely at a good spot. I was happy with that, but everything else pretty much was like, whatever. I really started getting into my job though, and that was good. November especially. So November comes around, and we are now officially partnered with the BU Animation Club, which was fantastic. The BU Anime Club, or the Animation Club, They have a very big setting. Obviously, they're part of the a BU association, so they have a lot of resources as well. I went to one of their artist alleys. Like I said, I was dressed as the cow, like I already said, and we got to networking. And I talked to a lot of people and said, "Hey, there's some opportunities for you guys. I'll post you guys up, yada yada yada." And I think it was pretty cool. It's a good collaboration to have for sure. And I think also in November, I didn't really do much outside of, I was just working, which was like, oh, I did have another job. I was working at FedEx for like a couple weeks and I hated it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So I just focused on my vacuum salesman job instead, which was fine. I was making some money on it. And then what? The end of the month comes around. There's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was fine. I actually went to a soup kitchen. I went to a church and I gave out some food with some people that I had met a long time ago. I mean, like 8 years ago, like a long time ago. And I just had them on Facebook and I was like, hey, I'm looking to do something for Thanksgiving. I want to get back to the community. So they invited me to come and I was like, hell yeah, this is sweet. You know, I spent some time with my family. Then after dinner, I went and I handed out food to basically whoever was hungry. And that was pretty cool. It made me feel good. Right here in the old chest cavity, right where the heart should be. That's where, I felt good. It was cool. It was a good kind of end to the month. I'll tell you that. December rolls around and I start working out with my cousin. I get a job at Nurchi's Pizza, which is probably what's most prolific of my life at this point. A lot of people are like, "Oh, John's working at Nurchi's." It's kind of cool. It's a fine job. It's really fine. I'm a delivery driver. I make good money on tips, and the wage is like whatever. But it's not bad. I'm glad to have the job. I have some friends there that work there too, and that makes it very easy to get through the days. Yeah, getting back on track. That's what December kind of really was. I've started focusing on some things that make me happy. I'll tell you what I'm doing now every day. I'm reading every day. I can't reach my book quite, but it's The Art of War is what I've been reading. Actually, I can grab it. I can grab this book. Let me just get out here for a second. Here we go. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I've been reading this book. It's not very dense. It's a couple pages a day. It's nothing crazy. And it's definitely a book I'll probably read again at some point. It's about being a tactician in war, which, the art of war kind of makes sense. But it's about, soldiers and how to identify certain things and what certain things on the battlefield mean, which it's like, sure, I just wanted to read it at some point, so I'm reading it now. My friend gave me that book. Very nice. Shout out to Aiden. And all of his YouTube antics as well. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. And I do Duolingo every day. So I read every day, I do a sock video every day, and I do my Spanish lessons on Duolingo. What is it? Estoy mejorando con mi español ahora. Cada día. Basically, I do Spanish every day. I've been doing it for a while, actually. I used to have like over a 2-year streak on Duolingo, then I lost that. But now we're back to it. I got like a 7-day streak now or something like that. After I lost my 20-something day streak. It doesn't matter. We're going back to the Duolingo. Read every day, learn Spanish every day, post a sock video every day, and post another video every day, which is just me talking, which you've probably seen. I don't think I've posted them on YouTube. I posted them to TikTok. But we'll probably, after this, we'll be posting more on YouTube. I'm thinking what we're supposed to be doing. What I say we are, it's just me. What I'm supposed to be doing is posting every single day, which I do, but also posting like 10 times a day, which I don't really want to do because I feel like that's just too much and people will be like, okay, John, we're sick of you. That's like, I get it, I post too much. But I think posting like 2 or 3 times a day, minimum 2, 3 if you're feeling it, and that could be anything. That could be like, oh, here's my breakfast in the morning. Okay, now here's a video of me talking. Then here's a sock video, of course. Then here's a video of me talking about something else or showing something off or whatever. Or a collaboration with people. Again, we'll get into that in just a little bit. But we're committed to making 2026 a much better year. If this is the year-end review so far and you've kind of heard a lot of things didn't work out, things didn't go my way, I went through a lot of hardship, then yeah, you're right. Because 2025 was probably one of the worst years of my life. We ended strong, I'll tell you that. I saved some money up at the end of the year like I wanted to. I got a new job. I'm working 2 jobs. That's cool. I got some new friends. That's exciting. I'm working out more with my cousin, with another friend as well. That's pretty good. But all in all, from the beginning of last year to the end of it, I think the ending was a lot better, which is great. The middle parts of it were shit. I'll say that. They were terrible. But, that's just how it goes sometimes. So that's kind of how it went. This is our whole list right here. I wrote this up not so long ago. So basically January, new year, new projects. February, anime convention hits the ground. March, getting a new footing with the anime convention, feeling optimistic. April, continued hard work. May, failure on two fronts, both May 4th for the anime convention and the ice cream business. June, we're putting the pieces back together, getting a new job. Anime nights at Legacy Lounge are done. July, a low point of the year, about to get lower. No job, no anime nights. I don't think actually that was until August. But August, even lower, like I said, mental hospital visit, no anime game nights, insurance job squandered. September, new job, ripped to my cat, a new sleeping medication. October, the No Kings protest, partnered with the BU. No, that wasn't until next month. Forgettable Halloween, making some money. And November, officially partnered with the BU Animation Club, giving back to the community on Thanksgiving. And December is really when things kind of came together, which I'm working out more, I'm reading, I'm posting more videos. I got another job, I'm making good money. It's decent money. I want a different job, but it's gonna do for now. I have an idea. And now we'll talk about what we're looking forward to in 2026. I don't actually know how long this has been going on for. Not a very long video, 20 minutes, that's not bad. So other additions, I have some new friends. Shout out to Aiden, Isaiah, Joey, and Cooper. My cousins, Cooper, and some other people I work with, Aiden, Isaiah, and Joey. They're pretty chill. I appreciate them, and I appreciate working out with them. So shout out to you guys for being cool. Socks with John keeps growing this year. I think I started the year with less than 1,000 followers, I think, on TikTok and, everywhere else. We got to over 500 on YouTube. I have over 1,200 on TikTok. Instagram and Facebook are kind of whatever. I don't really get a lot. It's fine. It's more like friends and people I know on Instagram and Facebook. We have a Threads as well, which kind of got some traction. But the big ones are, we got over 1,200 on TikTok and over 500 on YouTube, which is good, great stuff. Very happy that it happened. New collaboration on the horizon with some of the people I listed, with Isaiah, with Aiden. They're going to start Aiden has his own channel. We'll be doing some collaborations with him. Isaiah was actually in my sock video a couple days ago, and while we were at the gym, so that was pretty cool. And these are our 2026 goals. They're very achievable. I think I can get them done probably halfway through the year, if I'm being honest. 1, get my own vehicle. I don't have a car. I drive my parents' car, and that sucks. I really want a truck. I'm saving for a truck right now. We're not so far away from that, honestly. 2, move out again. This is like the third time I'll be moving out of my parents' house. The first time I was 18, I was still in high school. I had a girlfriend I was living with, and it worked out for the time being until she cheated on me with the guy we worked with. Anyway, the second time I moved out, it was with some business partners, actually. And then eventually a different girlfriend started living with me as well. And we moved in together to a separate place after that didn't work out. And then I moved back in with my parents after I broke up with her. How it goes sometimes. And that's kind of where I've been ever since. And now it's almost been 3 years since that's happened. 3 years. I need to get out of here. So that'll be happening again. Let me get some water quick, because I've been talking up a storm. So yeah, besides that, I want to find love again, I think, this year. I think I'm going to be more open to it. I didn't do anything on New Year's Eve. I was going to. But then I was like, nah, I don't really want to. I don't really want to go to a super busy place. I was like, I want to kiss a stranger. I want to get drunk, all that stuff. And I was like, do I really? I'm like, I'll probably spend a ton of money going downtown. I might kiss somebody. They could have like herpes or something. Or, what a way to start a year if you're like, yeah, I got sick kissing a random person that I'm not even talking to anymore. Like, well, So I was like, let me weigh the options here. I think I'd rather not do that. And I think I actually fell asleep around 10. So I didn't even see the ball drop. I woke up again at like 2:30. But that's our goals for 2026. I want the channel to grow more. We're going to do collaborations with people, posting more times a day, reading every day, doing our Duolingo every day. But also, I do hope that things work out. Maybe I won't speak about this quite yet. We'll wait until things kind of fall into place before I make this public. But so the secret thing we'll worry about some other time. But yeah, getting a new job maybe, or getting a different job come later in the year. I'm fine working at Nurseries for the time being. I get recognized a lot of Stocks with John, so that's pretty cool. But otherwise, yeah, getting my own truck, which is not so far away. I give it a couple more months and I'll be able to save up for a truck, which would be cool. I'm excited for that. And moving out again, which I could probably do maybe sometime before the summer. That could be cool. And there might be some opportunities for the ice cream business again this year. We'll see what happens. But all in all, 2025 fucking sucked. It sucked. I'll tell you that. Like I already said, 2025 was maybe one of the worst years in my life. And yeah, I've had some stinkers. I'll tell you that. I've had some pretty terrible years. A couple years ago, back in 2023, that sucked too. I had to move back in with my parents. I lost my job after some people lied about me and went to HR about it, which really sucked. That just felt bad. One of my best friends killed himself, which was probably something I felt like ruined my life for a while, actually. I think my friend taking his own life had affected me so deeply in ways I didn't quite understand, to where it was only around this year, or I guess last year, in 2025, that I was really starting to process that fully and getting over that. As it stands now, it's been 2 years since it's happened, and it doesn't feel as bad. I'm not gonna lie. It sucked. It was terrible. I stopped working. I fell down a really deep depressive hole. I couldn't get over the fact that I went to his parents' house at a time and said, "You should worry about your son doing these things," and then he did. That just cut me so deep that I never was really able to get over that until I think sometime this year it kind of clicked, especially with it being 2 years, that I thought, it was kind of a while ago. And it doesn't make it any better or worse. It just makes it easier to deal with. And I feel like I talk about them still every day, with people. And I think about them every day. And sometimes it still hurts to think a little too deeply about it. But it happened. And I feel like I'm kind of coming out of that now. One of the things he told me, which was kind of shitty of him, I won't lie, was that he said either he would be somebody who helped me along my way or really got in the way of things. And I don't think he really understood his role in having that power in my life when he took his own life. And that really affected me in such a way, because that was I will say it was the hardest thing I've ever had to get over, was one of my best friends killing himself. I thought sharing my story with him about things that I had done in the past and where I have been and why I did the things I did, and even my struggle with depression, would help him see that that's not the option. But it didn't help. And that's what really hurts sometimes. But it's getting better. And it doesn't rule my life the way that it used to. And it's okay now. It's not ever really going to be okay, but it's okay now. It sucks. It will continue to suck. I talk about them a lot. I think about them all the time. But it's finally not controlling my life in such a way that it was before. And I think that's what's really important. If there's any takeaway from here, is that in 2026, I kind of was able to get over a lot of that, which is important, I could still cry about him. I could still get upset about him, but I just don't. I don't really hold space for that much, or for that as much anymore. And I think that's okay. It's not me forgetting him. It's not me looking past him and saying he doesn't matter. It's me saying that what happened in the past can't be fixed. And so it's only important for us to live on, whether it's with or without that. I'm choosing to live with it, obviously, but it's just not that powerful anymore. And that sucks to have to say. I will tell you that much. But I'm 26 years old. It happened when I was like 23. It's okay now, or at least it's better. So I'll always remember him. I'll probably name one of my kids after him, if I'm being honest. Maybe I'll get a tattoo of something with him. I've thought about that as well. But it doesn't control me the same way it used to. And that's what's really important. And that's what I'm happy and even a little proud of, that for what's happened, as terrible as it was, I'm getting past it. That's what we got to do, right? So that's kind of all I got. We went over all the things that happened in 2025. I think one of the biggest things, like I kind of said, besides the anime convention, was really settling with how I felt about my friend and what had happened. Moving on is a very difficult thing to do, but we're getting there. That's all I kind of wanted to say. I hope that this summarized the 2025 year well enough and that you guys got a good idea of what John's life was like during 2025. I started growing a mustache since 2024, and I do appreciate how it looks. Not bad, right? Not bad. Yeah, I changed my look a little bit. I rock the longer hair now, which I actually really enjoy. I think people like it too. My great aunt was like, "Oh, Jono, you have such beautiful hair." And I was like, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Because nobody says anything about my looks. They're just kind of like, okay, that's what he's like now. I don't mean that in like a vain sense. Like nobody praises me for my looks. But I mean, nobody says like, oh, you started doing this, or oh, you're doing this now. They just kind of roll with whatever I do. So, I like the mustache. I've been an uncle for almost 2 years now. I love my niece to death. I get to see her all the time, which is cool. I get to read with her. She loves reading. So let's end this, as shitty as 2025 was, December being the last month of the year was actually a pretty decent month for me. Like I said, I got new friends. I got a job. I started working out more. I read. My sock videos are doing good. I'll be able to invest in the socks by the end of next year. That is set in stone. I could do it now. I just kind of rather have a car, But things are okay. For 2026, I have a very optimistic outlook. The things that I want to do are not impossible. They're not even that difficult. I've done a lot of them before, and I'll do them again. And so I feel pretty good about 2026. I feel okay about 2025. Like I said, it was not a great year. But I think going forward, I'll be a lot happier. And with what I want to do, as long as I keep working on it, I will get there. And for those of you that know what I mean, yes. Once I'm done with Spanish, I will learn probably Mandarin. That's what I'm thinking. Either Mandarin or Arabic, but one of those two. And then I got to learn those two as well. I'm pretty decent at Spanish. I don't want to say anything that would like out me as not being good at Spanish. What did I say earlier? Estoy mejorando con mi español. Pero yo estudio cada día. Usualmente mi familia no entienden. Solamente yo hablo español. Whatever, But yeah, it was a good year. Psych, it wasn't. It was not a great year. A lot of shit happened. But that is our 2025 year-end review. That's our month by month. I wanted to go. There were some things I didn't touch on, like the local election that I tried to get somebody on my podcast. And when it didn't work out, I ended up making a video about that as well. It's called The Discrepancy. I had a post get more traction, a lot more. I had like 7,000 views on a post on Reddit, of all things, on the subreddit for Binghamton, and he lost by less than 400 votes. So I was like, well, if you would come on my podcast like you said you were going to, I could have guaranteed you could have answered some questions for people. He was a pretty controversial pick already, so I think it would have worked out. And he could clear the air on a lot of topics. Maybe he could have secured the vote and won the Republican primary and then gone on to be the county clerk. But we'll never know now because he didn't come on my podcast and he said he was going to. So maybe that hurt his reputation even more for the few people that were holding out for him. We'll never know. We'll never know, and that's okay. But yes, that's our year-end review of 2025. I thought I would sit here and just talk for a little bit, make another podcast episode in my new room, not wearing a suit this time, just wearing regular clothes, because I hope to be able to do, I hope to be able to do this a little bit more often, make more videos. The podcast is definitely something I enjoy. We'll be keeping it alive in 2026, I will tell you that much. But we have our goals. We have new people to collaborate with. The horizon looks bright, and it's not even morning. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and for tuning into the Audiio podcast. As always, I'm your host, John, and I'll see you guys again next time. Adios, mis muchachos, and peace out. Thank you, as always, for watching. Go check out the other episodes of the Audiio podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again soon.